Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome in to Clarinda here on the KMA Extreme Online, KMAland.com. Trevor Maynard, Hall of Fame coach Steve Byer with you for the finals of the Hawkeye 10 Conference Wrestling Tournament. And we are underway at 106 pounds. It is Jesse Jens of Harlan, ranked number 12 in Class 2A. Actually, check that, number 11 in Class 2A. Number 2 seed today taking on Braxton Haas of Atlantic. And it's early and scoreless right now. And Steve, I don't want to jinx us, but we have been moving at rapid pace throughout the Hawkeye 10 tournament here today.
Well, this is great tournament always, year after year. Great competition. Hawkeye 10, the leading wrestling conference in Southwest Iowa. A lot of good teams, and it's always interesting to see how they're going to shake out here at the end of the season. Crescent, of course, ran the table during the regular season, winning all their dual meets in the conference.
Yeah, and there was a time today where I thought, the way the team standings were shaking out as we started that semifinal round, where Atlantic very much was in play to, I don't want to say steal the team title from Creston, because they definitely would have earned it, no doubt, kind of like they did last year. But then Creston's depth is shown throughout the day. They've got 213 points. They're leading the team race right now, so it looks like the Panthers on their way to another tournament title. Atlantic, Glenwood, Kemper Catholic, and Lewis Central is the rest of the top five. At 1:06, we have ended the first period. Again, this is Jesse Jens of Harlan taking on Braxton Haas of Atlantic. No score as we go to the second. Jens in the down position.
Jens has had a great season.
Yeah, kind of an under-the-radar season.
Coming off a second-place finish, I believe it was, last week up at the Bishop Heelan tournament. And a lot of big schools out of South Dakota and Nebraska there as well. Now
he's got him on his back.
Haas got a little too high, and Jens about reversed him. It looks like Haas is going to get some back points and a reversal for Jens.
Flurry of points here in the first 40 seconds of the second period. So, the 2 back points for Haas, and then 2 reversal points for Jens. Knots us up at 2. Now we'll go out of bounds, back to the center of the match with 1:12 left here in the second period. Consolation matches going on just to our right out of view today. We've got I believe they're wrestling all the third-place matches on this mat, and then they're sprinkling in the 5th and 7th-place matches they have on the backside mat. They're able to get 3 mats in here into the gym here today in Clarinda. And it's been a fun day of wrestling. We've moved at a pretty quick pace.
Yeah, I would say things have gone extremely efficiently today in the tournament. Not a lot of dead time, and
they didn't take a break at all today, rolling through some things. So it's been a very efficient day of wrestling here in Clarinda. And right now, Haas and Jens in kind of an awkward situation in the center of the mat. Haas regains control. Jens has got to be careful to stay off his back here.
Yeah, Jens got a little bit high himself. He had a leg in, got a little bit high. Now he's got the leg, and he's going to try to come back around it, and he does. So all that action there, and it's still 2-2 on the scoreboard. And Jens going to work on the left arm of Haas, trying to pull it through. He's got it trapped to the hip. Haas, though, gets stood up and
I don't think he got free. No, they did get free with 1 second left.
Oh, gosh. That's cutting it as close both ways as they went out of bounds and as the clock expired. So
Haas will take a 3-2 lead into the third period, rather. And Steve, of course, Atlantic led by Tim Duff, as always. Harlan, under the guidance of head coach John Murtaugh, his final Hawkeye 10 Conference Wrestling Tournament.
Yeah, and John coached 18 years, I believe it was, in Nebraska before coming back to Southwest Iowa. So a veteran coach there, and as you say, his last go-round in that head coach chair.
Of course, Coach Murtaugh, infamous for his one-liners, told me one time when talking about his experience been around so long that I think I coached Moses. So definitely going to miss that in his wit and seeing him on the sidelines throughout the year. 3-2 right now. Braxton Haas of Atlantic is leading Jesse Jens of Harlan. Make it 4-2 now as Haas gets up, gets free, gets a 1-point escape. Jens in on a shot. Haas a little lengthier. Tries to sprawl out. And then do we get a locked hands call? We did. I don't know. Maybe it was, or was it grabbing the headgear?
Wow. That's a huge point right now. And Haas with a good shot in on a single leg on Jens.
Makes it another 2 for him. Steve, well, I mean, what was the call there? Was it something to do with latching onto the headgear? Because I would have thought locked hands, but I don't think they were in a position to really lock hands.
Yeah, unless that was from a delayed call from way before. But, boy, the complexion of this match has really changed dramatically here. It was so close through
it was
2 periods, and now 7-2. And Atlantic's Haas is really going to work on top now. Deep waist, roll through attempt by Jens. Jens unable to break free though, and now he's got to struggle to get back to his base.
Down to the final 20 seconds of this match, and Braxton Haas, who, like I said, it was 2-2 at one point, he has controlled the entire third period, and he is on his way to giving Atlantic a Hawkeye 10 conference champion. Down to 7 seconds left. Jens trying to get free. Turnaround facing Haas. He'll latch onto a leg, and that is how the match will end. So a 7-2 win for Braxton Haas, and we are off and rolling here at the Hawkeye 10 Conference Wrestling Tournament in Clarinda. We're back in 30 seconds here on the KMA Extreme.
Nordland Insurance Agency. Over 80 years of service to our area. Holly Stansberry and her husband Pete own Nordland Insurance Now, an independent agency representing several companies, and they offer a full line of insurance products, including home, auto, commercial, farm, crop, life, and health. Nordland Insurance Agency, serving Southwest Iowa and Northwest Missouri. Visit us online at nordlandinsurance.com or call us at 712-542-5175. Nordland Insurance Agency, Clarinda.
Welcome back to Clarinda on the KMA Extreme, online, KMAland.com. We've got a really fun championship match coming your way right now at 113. It is Aiden Smith of Atlantic taking on Carter Schorsch of Lewis Central. 2 state-rated wrestlers. They met earlier this year. It was a 1-point win for Schorsch, but right now Steve Aiden Smith early on with a 2-point lead after a takedown.
Yeah, he wasted no time getting out and after that takedown, scoring that. Now he's got the left arm trapped, and he's really working. He is wrestling aggressively. Aiden Smith on a mission here.
We saw Aiden last week, the duel actually here in Clarinda, bumped up, wrestled Vinny Mayberry of Glenwood, who's in the finals coming up here in a few minutes. Lost that match, but again, he bumped up. That's never easy to do. And then I felt like last week at the John Harris tournament, looked, and maybe this is an oxymoron, but looked impressive in a loss to Eli Becerra, Missouri Valley. Was very much in that match the entire time, ended up losing by a couple points. And right now he's in a good spot, up 2-zip on Schorsch.
Yeah, he's up here early in the first minute of the first period and doing a nice job on top, not just riding, but trying to work for some advantage.
So Schorsch still in the down position, 55 seconds left in the first period. Schorsch, one of 2 finalists for Lewis Central here today. Braylon Camrad will join him at 170. Smith going heavy on the arm of Schorsch.
He's got that chicken wing in deep, and now half on the right-hand side, and he's really torquing.
He's got Schorsch on his back.
Oh, man. Doesn't that just make your spine crack all the way down, Trevor?
Well, that's how chiropractors stay in business, right? Smith looking for the fall.
There's going to be some back points here, that's for sure.
Smith, I would say, wants more than that. 20 seconds left in the period.
And he's got it about as tight as you can have it. There's not much daylight showing.
Down to 5 seconds left in the period, and Schorsch doing a good job of staying off that. Now we get the potentially dangerous. I will say Carter Schorsch, a sneaky, underrated name to pronounce, by the way.
And that's a great first period for Aiden Smith here. He's hitting on all cylinders. He is really wrestling well.
So we'll go to the second. Smith leading this match 5-0.
It's going to be Smith's choice, and he's going to choose down.
Atlantic's got a flurry of finalists coming up throughout the afternoon. Smith in the down position. Boy, those Atlantic Gold Championship singlets, Steve, I don't know that anything tops those in the Hawkeye 10. As Smith trying to get up and get free. Schorsch returns him back to the mat, and then Smith able to roll free, and it's 6-0.
What made that successful for Smith is he just kept hitting one thing after the other. Stand up. If it didn't work, he went to peel a hand, get his hips out, and he's in on a single leg shot again.
Smith trying to finish it, and he does, and it's an 8-0 lead.
Wow, this is impressive, and this is nothing like their first meeting of the year.
First meeting of the year was a 1-point win for Schorsch. And now Smith cranking up that arm again of Schorsch. Schorsch doing a good job keeping his shoulders level with the mat.
Oh, and Smith has lock and key. He lost it, though. Now he went to a crate just that quickly again. And this is what I mean by hitting on all cylinders. If one thing doesn't work, he's right into another situation. And he's got that cradle locked deep.
Oh, now Schorsch trying to sit through, and he had Smith on his back for a second. They'll give him a 2-point reversal. We've seen that, I think, with Aiden Smith at times this year where there's just been glimpses of, he's kind of a gunslinger, I guess, would be the best way to put it. And so many of the great moves that he's hit, there's been a couple times this year where that has cost him. Cost him with the Roland Dyer and Atlantic, but he's still in control, 8-2.
Yeah, he put himself on his back, though, that time. And one of those situations where you've got the cradle locked up, but you're not at the right angle, and the direction he went was not the right direction either.
I guess like a football comparison would be, being in the zone, and then boom, into triple coverage for an interception out of nowhere would probably be maybe the comparison to that. Second period expires, and we will go to the third, 8-2. Aiden Smith of Atlantic leading Carter Schorsch of Lewis Central. We're going to wrestle this one on our feet.
Yep, Schorsch has a choice, and he wants to go neutral. And there's Smith in again on a single leg. This time Schorsch is able to sprawl back out of it and try to whip, use the front headlock. Now an overhook. Fights his way back free out of it. Both wrestlers head-to-head here and trying to pummel, and it looked like we were going to have a throw, but Smith was able to keep his feet on the mat. That's what Schorsch was hoping for, was to get a throw.
So 8-2 now our score. Well, still our score. Here, early stages of the third period. Atlantic's already got one champion at 106. With Braxton Haas doing so.
Shot there by Smith, but not very good penetration. Tried going to the opposite side with that, and just a little too much of a reach. We'll have a stalemate. Go back up with 57 seconds left to go in this 113-pound championship match here at the Hawkeye 10 tournament.
Smith and Schorsch on their feet again. Smith shoots in low. It was a shot that he had earlier on in the second period as well, but again, Schorsch doing a good job on the scramble. Sprawling out as those legs wide does Schorsch. Smith continuing to drive. 30 seconds left in the second. They circle.
Yeah, Aiden Smith really doesn't hate being in this situation right now because he's locked up tight around that leg, trying to work to an advantage.
20 seconds left now in the
If he can
match.
pop his head out to the side here.
And they are working near the boundary and still haven't gone out of bounds. 8 seconds left in this one. And Aiden Smith, an impressive win for him. He avenges an earlier season loss. Well, he will in the next 2 seconds, as they'll go out of bounds. And back to the center of the mat. And Aiden Smith avenges a loss. He's an 8-2 winner and the 113-pound champion. And Steve, I think Aiden Smith's somebody that is wrestling really well as that calendar turns to February. And you know, as a coach, that is always something you want to see in your wrestlers.
Yeah, you want your guys building towards their peak here in the next couple weeks. This is payoff time.
Now we've got I think this has like match of the day potential. I feel like here at 120. These two wrestled earlier this year. It is Vinnie Mayberry of Glenwood taking on Christian Ahrens of Creston. Ahrens ranked number 7 in Class 2A by IA Wrestle. Mayberry number 8. They met earlier this year in a duel that you and Nick Stavis were at, and it was a pin for Ahrens. But Mayberry's been wrestling at a high level since then. He's in nicely on a shot at the moment.
Yeah, he worked into a double there, was able to get the first takedown. And it looks like maybe we've got blood. Yes, we do. Aaron's bleeding from the nose here, and he'll be attended to. So very quickly, Vinnie Mayberry grabs the 2-0 lead, and Ahrens is grabbing his nose right now. He's got to have that nosebleed tended to.
Mayberry had a really impressive week at the weekend of the Rowan Dyer Invitational a couple weeks ago. Then he went down to Linwood, Kansas. That's always a tough tournament. He was one of the mini Rams there that had a good weekend. Glenwood's got a handful in the finals as well. Matt Beam coming up at 132. And then they've also got at 220 Mason Kohler that'll be in the finals for them here later on this afternoon. And now they will attend to a blood spot on the floor, it looks like. It's like consolation matches at 120 right now and 132 also on the match. Shandoa's Cole Scammon is out there for the Mustangs. We're back underway in this Mayberry-Ahrens match. 2-0, Mayberry leading. Ahrens turns around, faces Mayberry. Mayberry's still got a little control on that leg of Ahrens, though, so the escape point hasn't been awarded yet. Mayberry gets back to his feet. Still haven't awarded the 1-point escape. Now they will, so it's 2-1.
Yeah, a lot of times when they get to their feet facing each other, if you don't have something locked up, they'll give the reversal right then. Mayberry in on a shot, kind of overshot his center of gravity. In a bit of a jam here as Ahrens trying to toss him to his back. He won't get anything, and it's going to end up no score in that flurry of action.
40 seconds left in the first period. 2-1 the score between Vinnie Mayberry of Glenwood and Christian Ahrens of Creston. On our feet, both wrestlers sizing each other up. Mayberry gets in low on a shot. Ahrens sprawls out. Defend it. Now Mayberry will work on the side of Ahrens.
I was going to say I didn't like how far Mayberry was from the intended target when he shot, but he did get decent penetration, and he's very patiently working to improve his position here. If he can pop his head free here in the last 10 seconds, he'll secure a takedown here, and he does.
He also he was cranking that leg, and the way he was cranking the leg of Ahrens, he keeps doing that. It's going to be potentially dangerous, but he let go of the leg, popped the head free, and he'll take a 4-1 lead into the second period. These two, of course, wrestled earlier in the year. They are wrestling today. There's a very good chance they could wrestle Tuesday as well at regional dual action. Thankfully, they are not in the same district, though, so these two, no secrets to one another. So we've got another stoppage for blood time. Looks like Ahrens will be tended to by the Clarinda medical staff. Logan Wood, as always, doing a great job running things here today, but a really nicely ran tournament, I must say, here in Clarinda. And while we've got blood time at our 120-pound championship match, let's take a quick break here on the KMX Stream.
Have you noticed a lot full of trailers on the east edge of Clarinda? That's Load Pro Trailer Sales, LLC. Sure, they have a great selection of trailers, but did you know they also service all makes and models of trailers and RVs? That's right, whether you buy from them or somewhere else, they will service your trailer with welding, tire repair, or replacement, hitch and brake controllers, installs for your vehicle, and more. Plus, they have an extensive parts inventory. Load Pro Trailer Sales, LLC in Clarinda. They're ready to serve you. Call 712-542-5523.
Right.
Back here in Clarinda on the KMA Extreme 120-pound championship match. The Hawkeye 10 Conference Wrestling Tournament out of the blood time. It's a 4-1, a Vinnie Mayberry lead. Mayberry of Glenwood over Christian Ahrens of Creston. Mayberry got really high as he put a leg in. Ahrens able to come out the side. Here's a scramble. They'll go laces to faces for a moment. We're still scrambling. And through all of that, Vinnie Mayberry never lost control. We'll get called for potentially dangerous, but man, Steve, I would have put good odds on points being awarded somewhere in that sequence.
Well, they, again, just as Aiden Smith did in the 113-pound match, Vinnie Mayberry kept wrestling, going into another move. Now, this is where he got into trouble last time. He put in a leg and went into that cross-body ride and got a little bit high, and Ahrens was able to take advantage of it. But Mayberry, he's a lively one. He's not going to give up just because he gets out of position a little bit. And he continued to wrestle his way out of a bad situation before. Here again, Ahrens trying to shake Mayberry a little bit high. Mayberry this time reaches back, grabs that foot momentarily to make sure he doesn't go high. He's got that cross-body ride, trying to pull the arm out. Now he goes to the leg, kind of looking like...
Is he wanting to work this into a cradle at some point?
That's what he was trying to do there. And now he's gone back to the crossbody, controlling that right arm.
And more blood time.
We've got blood time with 26 seconds left to go in the second period.
So 26 seconds left in the second. 4-1 Vinnie Mayberry of Glenwood leading Christian Ahrens of Creston on a 120-pound championship match. Meanwhile, Josh Hass of Atlantic and Jackson Brewer of Lewis Central are in the consolations at 120. That is the third-place match. And then in the fifth-place match at 132, it's Landon Carson of Clarinda, Cole Scammon of Shenandoah. Scammon is up 11-2 right now. Now, Steve, that far mat, that fifth-place match, seventh-place match, which is just out of your view if you're watching at home, that is kind of a makeshift mat, per se, here today. To get three mats into this gym, of course, you got to meet the requirements as far as distance from circle to circle, distance from circle to wall. They basically rolled out a wrestling mat and taped their own circle, and that's a pretty nice circle, I must say.
Yeah, it's not bad. And like you said, they also have the space for the scoreboards, worker stables, everything else. So a bit of creative design here at Clarinda. And as we said earlier, they've run the tournament very efficiently. And speaking of efficient, Vinnie Mayberry just working from the top like he's got a game plan and he's right on track.
4-1 as we go to the third in this match.
And he's worked that cross-body ride from both sides now on Ahrens. It's going to be Mayberry's choice. He's going to choose the down position for the third period.
So 4-1, Mayberry in the bottom to start the third.
Oh, now we're going to have a little payback by Ahrens. He's going to put the crossbody right in and go to work on Vinnie Mayberry.
Now, as a coach, Steve, if you're, say, Tucker Weber on the Glenwood side, what can you tell Vinnie Mayberry to try to work against this crossbody ride?
Well, one of the things is stop it before he gets the foot in. Now, once he gets the foot in, it's trouble. Now, nice job by Mayberry there as he's able to work around that leg.
And guess what? We've got more blood time.
Yeah, he got the reversal before the blood time, and so it's 6-1 now. And Mayberry's starting to open this one up.
So 3:44 left on the blood time here. So we're early third period. Cole Scammon of Shenandoah just took fifth. We've got a third-place match, I believe, going up at 126. Brayden Maxwell of Glenwood and Derek Gregory of Lewis Central. Rolling through things here today. The Hawkeye 10 Conference Wrestling Tournament. Of course, Steve, after this, it is basically all postseason.
Yeah, and it's going to be different this year. And
Very
I don't
much.
know. You were up at Sioux City yesterday, and I've got my opinion. I'm going to keep reserved for right now. But what did you think of the way the girls' union conducted the Super Regional up at Sioux City?
I thought it went okay. I mean, there were some things that maybe could have been handled better, I think, per se. But, I mean, it was always going to be kind of a trial by error thing with it this first year.
I think that's a good way to put it. And they're gonna learn and figure out how to improve things. I'm not sure having everybody head to Sioux City was the right idea.
I'm yearning for the day that's at the Mid-America Center. Ahrens gets up, gets the escape. It's 6-2 with a minute left here in this match. Mayberry being aggressive at the moment. I imagine this is one that for Vinny Mayberry that has been stuck in his craw since early December when he lost to Ahrens.
Yeah, I'm sure he felt like that was a match that he let get away. And he's going to make sure today with the conference championship on the line that he crosses all the T's, dots all the I's. Ahrens trying to get underneath Mayberry. Mayberry, though, right now kind of in that conservative mode.
So Mayberry, by the way, Steve, is one of the few that can be a three-time champion, conference champion today. He's only a junior as well, so he's still in play for 4 conference titles, which has not been done. Would you believe me if I told you it's been 4 years since we've had a 4-time Hawkeye 10 conference champion? Because it has been.
And you know what? It is tough to do, and if you're a small guy like Mayberry, you probably have a little better chance. And he will capture his 3rd consecutive Hawkeye 10 championship, so congratulations to Vinny Mayberry. 6-2 the final score.
So Mayberry gets the win at 120. Now we're underway. We'll be getting underway here at 126 in just a moment. It's a Red Oak Creston battle. Kyler Sandholm of Red Oak will take on Lincoln Keeler of Creston. Now, Sandholm and Keeler had quite the battle last week in the semifinals of the John Harris tournament.
Yeah, and you've mentioned it in other weight classes, how many rematches we've had. These guys are not strangers. And the thing of it is, today's probably not the last time that they're going to meet each other. So a lot on the line with the conference championship and probably more to come down the road.
So in our championship match at 126, we are early on in this one, no score. Between Sandholm and Keeler, as I mentioned. That was a match that came down to the wire as well last week. Creston trying to get their first champion of the day.
Yeah, Creston last week at the John Harris tournament rolled into the championship round with 5 finalists, only got 2 champions out of that, and you know that's kind of indicative of how tough the field was at the John Harris.
They've got a lot more finalists coming up as well. How about 3, 4? How about 5 more finalists after Keeler, who's got Sandholm in a really tough spot?
Well, Sandholm's arm was caught, and I'm surprised that wasn't stopped sooner. That was really caught behind both his head and under the chest of Keeler.
So it's a 2-0 Keeler lead at the moment. 45 seconds left in the first period.
Yeah,
Sandholm trying to sit out.
Yeah, Sandholm trying not to get too far out with his hips and shoulders. Grabs the head of Keeler, able to work an escape. Immediately tries a shot for a takedown, but is blocked by Keeler.
Keeler has been in and out of the lineup this year for Creston, battled a concussion early in the season. Came back last week and really throughout the whole tournament wasn't like super flashy or anything, but he just kept finding ways to win matches. He had a sudden victory win in the quarterfinals, had the win over Sandholm in the semis, had a tough battle in the finals, but just kept finding ways to win. Right now he's up 2-1. Sandholm shot. Keeler sprawls, now trying to work on the side of Sandholm as we go to the second period.
A good first period of action by both wrestlers.
So we'll go to the second now. 2-1. Lincoln Keeler of Creston leading Kyler Sandholm of Red Oak. Keeler trying to get up and get free. Got to be careful not to put himself in a cradle. I think he realized that. Gets back to his stomach.
Yeah, as he reached back to grab Sandholm's leg, kind of balled himself into the position. Now, Sandholm going to work on that right arm, trying to elevate the right wrist. Now goes to half Nelson.
I think that was like one of those oh crap moments, right? Where you're like, wait a minute, this maybe isn't as good of an idea as I thought it would be.
Oh, well, and all that you said, you don't have time. You don't have that time to react.
Sandholm continuing to ride Keeler. If you're watching at home, it's on the right side of your screen, and they go out of bounds with 1:14 left in the second period. Up next at 1:32, I'm very excited for this one. Matt Beam of Glenwood, ranked number 2 in Class 2A, will take on 1A number 3 ranked Riley Parkis of Kemper Catholic. Sandholm continuing to ride the hips as Keeler tried to roll through off the whistle. Now Keeler wanting to peel the wrist of Sandholm, gets 1 foot up, gets both feet up. Sandholm's got to either cut him or return him. He'll trip him back down to the mat, did so loosely. Keeler trying to work from the side now. A little bit of a headstand at the moment. And Keeler comes out of it with the at least 2, maybe some near fall points coming as well.
Oh, and now Sandholm able to work his way out of that. And he'll get 2 reversal and 2 back points. So kind of a wild flurry there.
And not surprising for the lighter weights that we're seeing here today, Steve, but a lot of good scrambles early on here in the Hawkeye 10 Conference Finals. It's 6-3 Keeler leading Sandholm with 20 seconds left in the second period.
You know, I'm going to credit both of these guys. We've mentioned the number of times they've wrestled before, and sometimes wrestlers tend to get more withdrawn. They throw things out of their repertoire. They get more basic, but these two guys have been going at it very vigorously. There's a 3/4 Nelson attempt by Sandholm.
Oh, wow.
And he's got Keeler in trouble.
Yeah, he had Keeler on his back for a second. Now he tries to jump back over, and he has time expire. He'll get 2 near fall points.
Wow, he snuck that 3/4 Nelson in and had Keeler rolled up, and there were just a few seconds left in the period, and he did get 2 near fall points out of it.
And he's in the down position to start the second, or the third rather. So Keeler with a 6-5 lead will work from the top. Tries to roll through and tilt Sandholm over for some near fall points. I don't know that he got a count. Sandholm rolled through it. Keeler does a good job of riding the hips.
No, he didn't get the 2 count, so Sandholm able to bridge his way and roll through on that one.
1:35 left in the third. Keeler on top of Sandholm. Sandholm had a nice move at the end of the second. And then Keeler's got to be careful. He tried to work to the side, just about pinned himself. 1:20 left in this match now.
And this is a situation where the pace of this match is slowing down here a little bit. Now Keeler works to the side with that half Nelson in deep on the right side of Sandholm. Sandholm trying to pinch down on that half Nelson. And he will.
Left.
Fortunate there.
So Keeler still, he's been tough on top to his credit for the last 1 and 10 seconds.
Well, this is one of those where, usually going into the third period, if you're down a point and you're in the down position, you feel like you're in pretty good shape, but Sandholm hasn't been close to getting out yet, and there's only 34 seconds left to go.
Sandholm trying to get free, running out of time though. 25 seconds to go. And out of 20.
I don't think that roll through is there, and he could really use a fresh start right now, but they're out in the center of the mat. Now, the only thing is Keeler hasn't come off the hips here, and Keeler, is, in order to slow the pace down here, hasn't really been doing much other than riding hip over hip. Now
he'll get
Sandholm again.
1 count on the near fall. 10. It doesn't get any points, but gets a nice 6-5 win. That was a fun match. at 126. We got a really fun one coming up as well at 132 here in the KMA Extreme.
In AgriVision Equipment, know two things about the future of ag. One, technology will continue to evolve, and two, it's still all about the people that make it happen. AgriVision Equipment is looking for those people to share in the excitement of driverless vehicles, artificial intelligence, drones, and even more John Deere innovation. If you're excited about what this will offer the ag industry, you might be a fit for service technician positions receiving a competitive wage, benefits package, job growth, and stability. Apply at agrivisionequipment.com/tech.
We are off and running our championship match at 132 pounds here at the Hawkeye 10 tournament. Trevor Matter, Steve Byer with you. It's 1A number 3 Riley Parkus of Kemper Catholic taking on 2A number 2 Matt Beam of Glenwood. A lot of action 12 seconds in. Matt Beam tried to load up a throw. They went out of bounds near the scorer's table. And we are off and running here at 132, and Matt Beam has been ever so aggressive.
Yeah, he looks like he'd like this to
and now
become a brawl.
Now he sends him into his coaches, his own coaches. He puts Parkus in the lap of them. Matt Beam had a great state tournament run last year, got to the finals, came just a couple points shy of a state title. I think it's safe to say, Steve, this has not been the year he wanted. Got a shot. It wasn't there. Had a loss to the Council Bluffs Classic. He's been in and out of the lineup with injuries and illness. And he is wrestling like a madman right now. Gets a 2-point takedown.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, as physical as he's been here in the first minute. And you mentioned he's been out with some illnesses, been out with some injuries. You wonder how his conditioning is. If this one goes deep into the third period, will he have gas in the gas tank?
So Beam with the early 2-0 lead.
Parkus tried to work a sit-out, not able to get his hips out, though. That deep waist that Beam has is tight, vice tight, and Beam working a half now on the far side. Keeps reaching to that far side, working a chicken wing on the near side. Now he's going to jump to the other side. He's still got that chicken wing. Going to try to walk it the other way. He's got a double chicken wing locked up. Oh!
He's got Parkus on his back. Beam looking for the fall. 15 seconds left in the period. Parkus trying to bridge up. It won't matter. Matt Beam with a statement and a time of 146. The Hawkeye 10 Conference champion. Stevie looked pretty good.
He looked really good.
So he's a champion at 132. Now we move on to 138. Austin Evans of Creston will take on Easton O'Brien of Atlantic. Here in the championship match at 138 pounds. We are rolling along here in Clarinda, which is just the way I like it. So O'Brien, who picked up his 100th career win in this gym 9 days ago in a duel against Clarinda, was, I think it's safe to say, one of the favorites last week in that weight class that the Hawkeye 10 ended up having to withdraw due to injury.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for him at the John Harris tournament. And so this is going to be an interesting matchup here.
So we're underway. No score early on. 10 seconds in on our feet. Evans of Creston beating O'Brien of Atlantic. Evans in on a shot. O'Brien tried to trap the head of Evans with his legs at the moment. That's his best defense right now, but Evans able to get the head free. O'Brien doing a really good job at circling with him and picking that ankle.
Yeah, one of these laces to faces type situations. And Easton O'Brien has both of Evans's legs trapped. And Evans working to do the same against O'Brien. So they're kind of rolling around out there. And right now,
still not able to get free is either one of them, or turn points out of this, I should say. A minute has gone by and a good scramble so far on the mat between these two. I thought maybe we were headed towards a stalemate, and we'll get one. 57 seconds left in the first period.
Evans missed early part of the season, recovering from a football injury.
He's been down the lineup. I think it's safe to say he maybe didn't have the performance that John Jay last week that he wanted either. 40 seconds left in the first. Evans in on a shot.
That's kind of a nice setup that he had for that. He started backing away and then acted like he was going to drag the right arm of Easton O'Brien, then shot on the left leg. So a lot of misdirection there to set Easton O'Brien up for that takedown. And 2-0 here with 20 seconds left to go.
So Evans with the early 2-0 lead. 10 seconds left in the frame. He thought about the cradle for a moment, and then he'll just ride the top of O'Brien into the final seconds of this frame. As I say that, he'll work from the side again. That might have been just to show, hey, I'm not stalling. Please don't warn me for stalling. And we'll go to the second. 2-0. Austin Evans of Creston leading Easton O'Brien of Atlantic. It'll be, I didn't see who won the disc toss. I'm thinking O'Brien gets choice. One thing I noticed earlier, Steve, and this is just kind of, I mean, it's really nothing, I guess, but you know that the discs that the officials have to determine positioning in between periods, I saw one of them say there was a square.
That way they don't go rolling around on the mat.
I've never.
You've seen that happen, Jim, when they flip
No,
and they land
yeah,
on
but I've
their
never
edge.
seen a square one before.
Well, you don't have to worry about it rolling around.
That's a good point. That's just one of my many observations from the day here in Clarinda. Early stages of the second period. O'Brien in the down position. Evans breaks him down flat, working 2-on-1 on the legs of O'Brien. Now he'll.
Evans staying tight on the hip. Now moved off to the side just a little bit and went right back quickly the other way. O'Brien trying to get to his feet, sits out. And Evans tries chinning back, but chins him back out of bounds.
31 seconds has eclipsed in this second period. Creston is well on their way to a team title, I would say. Up by 31 at the moment. That's actually, that might not be completely updated either. Yeah, up by 31 is what I'm showing on Track Wrestling. Atlantic's in control of second. Really, Glenwood's in control of third.
Yeah, it's kind of stair-stepped out there. And then it gets kind of close as you go fourth, fifth, sixth.
Lewis Kemper's in fourth with 112. Lewis Central in fifth at 106. Harlan sixth with 100. Clarinda in seventh with 93.
Here we are. O'Brien gets an escape, but Evans able to win this scramble for the takedown. And he's now up 4-1.
4-1 the score with 50 seconds left in the second period.
Evans really hasn't come off the hips very much. Now O'Brien trying to work up an inside stand-up, but he'll be brought back down to the mat. Hard crossface there.
35 seconds left in the second period. Austin Evans, a former Hawkeye 10 conference champion. He was a champion 2 years ago. Chance to become what would technically be, well, it would be the 101st two-time champion. Actually, check to be 100th two-time champion because Vinnie Mayberry no longer a two-time champion.
That's
He's a
right.
three-time
He moved
champion.
up to a three-time.
Hayden Smith, a two-time champion now as well after his win at 113. So Evans looking to join him. 10 seconds left in the second. We got a caution warning on O'Brien underneath. I think
a little
moved
too quick off the whistle there, but I don't blame him with 10 seconds. Now the caution goes against Evans. These guys realize there are just a few seconds to go, and you notice they don't reset the clock, so we've lost 4 seconds.
And we'll go to the third.
O'Brien was wanting to take advantage of a quick start and maybe score a point or two before the end of the second period. We'll go to the third now, 4-1. Evans of Creston with the lead over O'Brien of Atlantic.
So on our feet to start the third. Evans gets in on a shot. O'Brien sprawling out, trying to fight that off. Now O'Brien will go down to a knee, goes down to both knees to fend it off.
Yeah, he's got every one of his 138 pounds, 140 pounds pushing down on Evans's head. That's how they'll go out of bounds. Now, change the levels by O'Brien, but no penetration on that. More of a bluff, I think, or maybe he thought, he shot that time and came up with nothing but air. Evans comes around, gets the takedown, 6-1 now. Switches off to a leg. O'Brien hopping on his left foot, and they'll go out of bounds.
Now, Steve, in that situation where O'Brien shoots, he misses, and Evans just comes around for an easy 2. When you're on the good side of that, right, that's got to be like a great feeling. But when you're on the other side of it, it's got to be like an air ball in basketball, right?
You feel exactly that way. And then you have to go back and you wonder in your mind, what did I do that telegraphed
did
that I
I
was
tip
gonna
it off?
shoot that? Yeah.
6-1 the lead right now for Evans, working from the top. I guess, again, it'd be like in football if you were staring down a receiver. Maybe that's what it is just tipping it off a little bit. 6-1, 50 seconds left in the third period.
Well, and that's a good comparison, and I think that happens in just about every sport. There are tells.
Yeah.
And if somebody reads that, that's how you get a situation like O'Brien's air ball.
30 seconds left in this match, and Austin Evans, barring something crazy happening in the next 20 seconds, is going to get his second Hawkeye 10 conference title.
Well, Evans has stayed over the hips here, and I'm a little bit surprised he hasn't had a warning for stalling because he's been on that wrist and tight waist and over the hips. Now he works out. See, he's showing just enough.
And he'll win it 6-1. Austin Evans of Creston gives the Panthers another champion, 138 pounds. We're underway at 145, and it is a chance for Shenandoah to snap a 13-year drought of Hawkeye 10 Conference champions. Jacob McGargle will be on the mat here in just a moment, taking on Chris Aragon of Creston. Yeah, you have to go all the way back to 2010 for the last time the Mustangs had a Hawkeye 10 Conference champion. It was Carol Heitschusen doing so that year. So Shenandoah breaking out the championship singlets here today. They haven't had a finalist in the Hawkeye 10 for quite a few years either.
And if I recall correctly, Heitschusen was actually a Farragut student.
Hamburg, I believe. Yeah, well, one of the two. .135 left in the first. Still no score.
Ooh, nice shot in deep on the double. Going to lift him up, bring him down gently, and get the 2-point takedown. Kind of how you draw it up in the instructional manual.
And we saw Aragon last week at the John Harris tournament. I know he didn't win the tournament, finished second, but had quite the tournament.
Yeah, one of those guys that's really coming on. As you mentioned earlier, this is the time of the season when you want to be getting it all together, peaking, so to speak.
He's got an early 2-0 lead over Jacob McGargle of Shenandoah. McGargle, part of a Shenandoah lineup that's young, but got some talented wrestlers in it under Coach Todd McGinnis, but Aragon in control at the moment.
Mustangs are much improved right now. McGargle's in trouble. Chicken wing is deep and does a good job of fighting that off. I thought Aragon was going to drive him over, but he was able to fight it off. Now McGargle trying to stand up with the outside foot. He does get to his feet, and Aragon will let him go. 2-1. Aragon of Creston in the lead.
15 seconds left in this first period. And Steve, McGargle is only a freshman, and he's wrestling at 145. Doesn't he look like the type of wrestler that by the time he's a senior, you'll see him at like 195?
Well,
with
he
that
could
tall,
be.
lean frame.
He's got the frame for it.
Aragon almost got the takedown at the horn.
Time had run out, and the officials confirmed, double check. Time was out before there were any back points. Now they're waving off. No takedown.
Now they're going to give. They put it on the board as a takedown.
Yeah.
And
I think the officials still talking to the people at the table, and they took 2 points off.
They did take it off. Okay.
2-1. That's what I thought they had indicated.
So we'll start the second. Aragon leading 2-1. He'll be in the down position to start this frame. McGargle working from the side. Now we'll just have to cut Aragon free.
He tried to attack that right wrist and reached a little too far, lost his balance, and realized, like you say, in one of those oh darn moments, and rather than get himself in a worse position, he just gave Aragon the escape.
So it's 3-1 Aragon leading. Minute 20 left here in the second period. Both wrestlers sizing each other up a little bit. Of course, Shadow's got another crack at a champion coming up next at 152. Owen Laughlin has maneuvered his way through a interesting bracket, I would say. He'll take on David Helton of St. Albert in the finals coming up next. McGargle
nice shot by
nicely.
McGargle. In deep on that single. Aragon fighting him off, though, with the whizzer.
McGargle still trying to finish that shot, and Aragon can only whizzer so long. His best bet now would be to go out of bounds, but they don't. Well, they do, but not before McGargle gets the 2 points to knot us up at 3.
Nice job by McGargle there, near the out of bounds, knowing that he had limited space to work with and being able to successfully get that takedown. Now Aragon from the bottom stands up, turns out, McGargle in on the legs. McGargle going flat to his stomach, though. This is not good for the Mustang.
And now Aragon controlling the leg. I think wanted to grab the head as well. It's not there, so he'll pick that leg up higher. Now the play here is to hopefully sweep that other leg. And he did. McGargle tried to get to the boundary. Can't quite do it in time before Aragon secures the takedown. It's 5-3 in his favor with 9 seconds left in the second period. Be big for McGargle here if he can shoot up out of the whistle, but Aragon will just ride the hips and the ankle to end the second, and we will go to the third, with Aragon leading this match 5-3. McGargle will be in the down position. So yeah, being able to get an escape there would have been huge at the end of that frame. McGargle trying to sit out.
Yeah, McGargle now bounced right back up to his feet out of that sit-out attempt. And a warning for stalling against Aragon for not bringing him down quickly enough.
I think you can see that coming, and maybe some of that dates back to the end of the second period as well, where he just rode the hips.
Mm-hmm.
He returns McGargle down to the mat. A minute 35 left in the third. They are flying through the consolation matches, which is, I think, kind of par for the course. They're up to 152 and I think 160.
Well, again, just as we've mentioned several times, matchups here in the championship mat have been rematches earlier. It's the same way on our third and fourth, fifth and sixth consolation matches as well.
Again, I mean, to be expected. A lot of these teams obviously see each other throughout the year and with a dual schedule. Minute 5 left here in the third. And Aragon on top of McGargle right now, working from the side. It's that leg trap for a moment. Now he'll try to trap the left arm of McGargle, who's wanting to peel it. Aragon riding the hips. McGargle gets back to his feet. Aragon's got to be careful. He has been warned for stalling one time already in this match. He'll return McGargle back down to the mat.
If McGargle has enough fuel in the tank, I'd be getting back to my feet again.
Yeah.
I'd push that issue. Because a lot of times when you've been warned for stalling, as Aragon has, you realize I got to cut him loose. Well, that's exactly what McGargle wants. Wants to force that situation. He does get loose. And now a takedown can win it for McGargle. He got the takedown in the second period, near out of bounds.
He's in on shots, and good job countering by Aragon. He'll switch down to a single leg. He's got to be careful not to just latch onto that leg and not do anything, because there'd be a stall. But he'll hold on, and Chris Aragon is a conference champion. That was a fun one, 5-4.
Well, and you got a freshman there, McGargle from Shenandoah, that you got to think has a mighty bright future.
I would say very much so. I don't think it'll be long before the Mustangs have a Hawkeye 10 Conference champion. It could be in the matter of a few minutes. As Owen Laughlin is, see what I did there, out on the mat at 152. He's taking on David Helton of St. Albert. Now, Helton, state medalist a year ago.
Yeah, this is going to be another interesting matchup, and it's, a couple of teams represented that are not in the team race.
And these two have met twice this year. Laughlin won both matchups by decision. And I talked about earlier, this is an intriguing bracket. We have these two. You have Adam Byer of Red Oak, who was the John Jay champion last week. Milo Staver of Creston. Tate Mayberry of Glenwood, all very, very solid wrestlers. And seeding this tournament was, I'm sure, not fun. Helton was actually the 1 seed, Laughlin the 2. Right now, Laughlin,
he's got that spladle locked up.
Oh, he's got it cinched up. He's got Helton on his back looking for the fall. Owen Laughlin with Helton in a good spot. 1:15 left here in the first. Still got the spladle in control. 1:10 left. Laughlin gets the fall, and at long last, Shenandoah has a conference champion for the first time in 13 years, and Owen Laughlin does so in impressive fashion with that spladle.
Well, you don't see a spladle very often, but that time it was work, and that's 100 career wins.
That's a pretty good day for the young man. His 100th career win, and I'm sure it'll be one that he'll remember.
Absolutely.
So he's your champion at 152, and now we are underway, and we're getting underway at 160. It'll be a rematch from last week's John J. Harris finals. Dawson Bond of Red Oak taking on William Bollinger of Creston. And Steve, obviously a very good win for Shenandoah there.
Certainly was.
So now we're underway here at 160, and Bond has just been workmanlike all year.
Dawson Bond in on a low single, works up into a body lock. Bond just really going after Bollinger right now.
To an early 2-0 lead.
Dawson Bond going to go with the optional start. Not going to give him the point to go neutral, but go with the optional start and kind of get an idea and turns him loose. 2-1. Dawson Bond again, low, picks an ankle. He changes levels and gets penetration as well as anybody at this tournament today.
Bond ranked number 1 in Class 2A at 160, was a semifinalist last year, 4th place finisher at state. Of course, his goals for this year, they extend well beyond just winning the Hawkeye 10 Conference tournament, and he's out to an early 7-1 lead.
As they go out of bounds, I can't let the Red Oak Tigers wrestle without commenting on the sartorial display there by Coach Pudliska. Those pants, I don't know where you find a pair of pants like that.
I thought you had a couple of them in your closet.
No, those are not checkerboard pants. I don't know what you call those.
There's somebody on the Red Oak side. I'm not sure if it's an assistant, but I've seen them walking around today. They've got almost like the orange Willy Wonka look with the hat. It's not something I would ever pull off, but it looks sharp.
Yeah, I noticed someone earlier. They were standing behind Coach Pudliska, but yeah, where you find a hat like that, I don't know.
I don't know either. 7-1 Bond leading a minute into this match.
Yeah, Bond able to work a tilt, pair of takedowns, and he is tight on William Bollinger. 45
seconds left here in this first period.
Well, he reaches across and grabs that arm and sucks it in like it's a paper clip, and I'll guarantee you Bollinger's not a paper clip. But Bond, and you know what? Dawson Bond, ever since I've been watching him wrestle, it seems like frame-wise he's not as big framed as most of the people he wrestles.
Right.
But boy, does he make up for it on quickness.
Of course, if he's a standout football player as well. Was the Cam Mayland A1A, 2A defensive player of the year, good baseball player. Just all around a really, really good athlete, and has had a strong career there in Red Oak. He had some tough luck early in his career. His freshman year, I feel like probably a state medalist caliber wrestler, got put in a really tough district, lost in a wrestle back in the last moment. His sophomore year was rated very highly in the state, I think top 5, and suffered a collarbone injury at sectionals. Didn't get a wrestle at districts, and last year made up for it with a run to the semifinals before finishing 4th. And you could just tell in talking to him this year, he's very driven, very, very focused. And Steve, you know as well as anybody, I think maybe the most dangerous man in February is a senior that is on a mission when we get to Des Moines.
Yep, he realizes it's his last time. I got a kick out of that during the break in the action. Coach Podliska came over to talk to Dawson Bond when they got through. Instead of the coach tapping the wrestler on the butt, Dawson Bond tapped Podliska on the butt.
10-1 the score. Yeah, you can just you can tell with Bond, he's got a confidence to him, and rightfully so, right? I mean, he's been dominant this year, most of the year.
Oh,
Bollinger got it on a shot, but again, that quickness of Bond.
Bollinger's got to wonder what does he have to do. He had an ankle wrapped up, and Bond able to get out of it. Just amazing, the quickness there. That's one of those things, if you got those quick twitch muscles working for you, that's a huge advantage. I don't care what the sport is.
Minute 15 left in the second period. Coming up at 170, Braylon Camrad. This is a sneaky good matchup at 170. Braylon Camrad of Lewis Central, Caden Street of Creston will be going at it. To 160, Dominic Polsley is taking on Jared Armstrong. Polsley of Clarinda, Armstrong of Atlantic. That's actually a rematch from earlier today when Polsley beat Armstrong. Bond will get 2 more. Thought about the cradle, decides to circle around and collect 2, and it's a 12-1. Dawson Bond lead.
Yeah, and Bollinger's got to feel like, golly, Moses, how'd he get to be 12-1?
Yeah, it's probably one of those matches where you look at it and go, I don't think I've done too bad, and then you look at the score and you're like, oh, it's 12-1. And we get a caution on Bond. Looks like Armstrong was the victor at 170. They're moving along. They're up to 182 now in the third, 5th place mat.
You suppose we're going to end up jumping to...
I don't know. I guess it's possible. Bond in control. Still 25 seconds left in the second period.
Well, he's trying to load up that tilt. Bollinger knows it. He's got the elbow out blocking as much as he can.
Bond riding the hips. And we will go to the third with Bond in control, 12-1.
Bollinger's going to choose neutral. I don't know. I guess you pick your poison, huh?
Yeah. I mean, if you're Bollinger, you're in a tough spot here with the way Bond is rolling.
Bond pummels inside as well as anybody also. Nice shot by Bollinger, though.
He's had a couple of those.
Bond kind of let up a little bit near the out of bounds, and Bollinger was able to get in on him, but they were out of bounds before he could complete the takedown.
Yeah, and like I said, he's had a couple of shots where I think just Bond's quickness and mat awareness has been the difference. Minute 30 left in this match.
Oh, there's your guy with the hat, and there's another takedown.
Nice ankle pick by Bond there. That is a nice hat.
I'm going to say it again. Bond changes levels and gets penetration as well as anybody in this tournament.
He's up 14-1, and
you can be up, standing up, eyeball level, and the next thing you know, he's down at your shoelaces and has sucked in your foot.
Red Oak has built kind of a mold in the past years of those really good, like 145 to 170 pounders. Of course, Justin McCunn of Red Oak sticks out, was a state runner-up. Thomas Bentley was a multi-time medalist, semifinalist. Carter Maines had a great career as well. And Bond, very similar to those. In a lot of ways, kind of reminds me of a Justin McCunn, where he's very calculated, maybe a little more athletic than you think he's going to be on the wrestling mat.
Well, and I think that lineage goes all the way back, I think, to Seth Asias.
Yep.
That's probably where it begins. And that also, Seth's championship year was, I think that was Tegan
It was
Podliska's
his first or second year, yeah. I know it's something that Coach Podliska's talked about before. Bollinger gets up, gets free, makes it a 14-2 match. But Dawson Bond, who is on his way to becoming a 3-time champion here today, did not win this tournament as a freshman. If I remember correctly, that was a year where that bracket had Joe Weaver from Atlantic in it, who was very good. I believe either Luke Musich or Ethan Lemon of Harlan, I don't remember which one off the top of my head, were in that bracket. It was a very tough bracket, very tough weight class that year that Bond was in, but he's 1 second away from his third title. And that'll do it. Dawson Bond, a 3-time conference champion, and now we're up at 170.
And we've been rolling right along, and nice round of applause from the fans here. And Dawson acknowledges, holds up 3 fingers. That's the third one.
So now at 170, Caden Street of Crested will take on Braylon Camrad of Lewis Central. Camrad has been ranked all year in Class 3A at 182 pounds. I thought we would see him wrestle Carson Downey in the final set. I personally was very excited for that matchup. Well, Camrad is bumped down to 170, and I would imagine usually you're not, if you're bumping down this late in the season, you're bumping down because that's where you're going to wrestle in the postseason.
I believe Cameron wrestled 182 last weekend up at the Bishop Elan, came in third up there. And again, I'll just say that was a tough tournament field up there with a mix of large schools out of Nebraska and South Dakota. I think just about everything on I-29 from Watertown south through Sioux Falls came to that Bishop Elan tournament.
Early stages of the first period, still no score. Camrad, of course, a very, very good football player. He gets in on a shot on Street.
Now he's got that single leg picked up, picking it up even higher.
Still trying to pick it up even higher, wanting to trip the leg, and Street kind of rolled himself into a tough spot as they go out of bounds, but I don't think they get any points out of that.
No,
They're
going to say his foot was over the line, but I like the technique where you just, once you've got that picked up, you keep working it higher and higher, taking your opponent off balance.
Of course, mentioned Braylon, state champion quarterback for the Titans, took him to a state championship game again this year. He's going to play football at Northern Iowa. He gets in on a shot there. His dad, Justin's the head football coach at Lewis Central. And obviously the football wrestling connection, Steve, we've seen a lot of really, really good wrestlers and really, really good football players come through the state. Don't see a lot of quarterback wrestlers, though.
Not quite so much. It's much more common to see
tight
something
ends,
like a Dawson Bond, where, the outstanding defensive football player for the whole area is a wrestler.
And you see a lot of, high-level football players and that are really good wrestlers. Caleb Sanders, of course, comes to mind. Tristan Wirfs, Tyler Linderbaum, among them. Most of them play, on the offensive line, and it comes down to footwork. Those are obviously things coaches preach, but Braylon Camrad, kind of a unicorn in that regard of, he's a quarterback, very good quarterback, Division I quarterback, also a really, really good wrestler.
Of course, my son Fritz would say, what are you talking about? I played quarterback, and I wasn't too shabby on the mat.
There's been some good ones to come through. Rocky Lombardi of West Des Moines Valley went on to play at Michigan State in Northern Illinois. I'm sure I'm forgetting some as well, and I apologize for that. But it's a 2-0 lead for Camrad right now as we go to the second.
Well, the thing of it is, too, any body style can become a successful wrestler. And Camrad is one of those guys. He's a little longer.
Yep.
And certainly that helps him on the football field for the position he plays. But you'll find guys that are stocky, close to the ground.
Yeah.
They find a way to win on the wrestling mat as well.
Of course, Camrad, just all around a really good athlete, part of a state championship 4x2 team in track, was the 400-meter hurdle conference champion this past year. 125 left in the second. He's got a 2-1 lead. I will say, coming into the year, Steve, I was intrigued by Camrad because he's off to play football at the next level. Sometimes you see in that situation somebody forego winter, spring sports. Not the case, though, with Braylon Camrad this year. He's having a strong season. In on a shot right now on Street. Street trying to put the whizzer in. Did about the worst thing you could there, turning your shoulders. And Camrad will get the 2-point takedown.
Well, I think you have to give Camrad credit. He keeps it all in perspective. And this is probably a personal goal of his, too. He's had a great wrestling career, and it'd be nice to cap it off here with an outstanding run through the postseason. Have a conference championship.
Get to the state tournament, hopefully, make some noise. 4-1 our score with 32 seconds left here in the second period.
And Trevor, there are guys, too, that don't want to be thought of as just a football player. They want to be thought of as an athlete and be able to point to accomplishments in multiple sports.
Getting to know the Lewis Central programs and his dad, Justin, multi-sport athletes are something they take a lot of pride in. And Camrad, I think, a great example of that as we navigate through the winter season. Street trying to get up, and we've got a potentially dangerous call that'll put him back to the center of the mat with 19 seconds left in the second period.
Just follow up one more point on that, too. I think for Camrad, the situation with being here as a wrestler, being out for track in the spring, is a little more unusual in the larger schools.
Oh, yeah.
Larger schools, a lot of times you see athletes do more specialization. 2A and 1A schools especially, you need every athlete you can get in competition every season.
Street gets the 1-point escape. I think there was also a stall warning in there on Street, so he needs 4-2 as we go to the third. Camrad was a conference champion 2 years ago. Last year wrestled Caden Stutzman of Atlantic. Lost that match. Of course, Stutzman went on to win a state title later on that year in 2A 170. 5-2, Camrad now leading as he got up and got free. Minute 40 left here in the third. Fixing to be a busy stretch for Lewis Central Wrestling. Of course, the boys postseason, they're going to have a strong showing on the girls' side at the girls' state tournament next week. We're hoping Camrad can put together a nice postseason run. He shoots in nicely on a single leg. Picks it up. Trying to pull Street back in to trip it.
Yeah, and here again, he's got that single leg, and I like the technique that he uses to work that up higher and work that trip. Very nicely done.
That's one as a coach, Steve. Brad, you'd put it on tape and say, this is how you do it?
Yep, this is the proper technique.
So 7-2 our score with 104 left.
And I think that's one of the things, too. Over the years, Lewis Central's had some very good technique coaches working with the kids in that program, even in the youth club sports. And you don't see bad technique.
They've got August Manns, longtime Thomas Jefferson head coach, leading the program now. Dean Leaders, who's been around a handful of programs, coached a trainer for a while. He's helping out there. Maybe not the numbers you would expect from a 3A school, and definitely a school like Lewis Central, who, I mean, man, you go back 15, 20,
good
25
heritage.
years ago, they were the team in the Hawkeye 10. But they've got some strong individuals. Of course, Braylon Camrad leading the way, and he's 20 seconds away from another conference title.
Stalemate here as things are all locked up. 14 seconds to go now.
Meanwhile, we got consolation matches at 2:20.
Ooh.
And 170 on the mat, it looks like, or 182. Camrad again, another shot. We'll get 2 more points for good measure, and Braylon Camrad wins this match 9-3. And the Titans have a conference champion. 182 on the way next. Should be a fun one here in the KMA Extreme.
Your feet carry you through life, which is why Clarinda Regional Health Center wants to make sure you're putting your best foot forward for any foot or ankle concerns. Our team of podiatrists are available weekdays to address your foot or ankle issues, ranging from arthritis to diabetic foot problems, bunions, hammer toes, or foot injuries that might require surgical care. CRHC wants to help you take a step in the right direction, so go to clarindahealth.com to learn more about our podiatry services.
Welcome back to Clarinda on the KMA Extreme online, KMAland.com. Trevor Mander, Steve Byer with you here, getting ready to begin the championship match at 182 pounds, and it is Carson Downey of Clarinda, and he will take on Brendan Casey of Atlantic, having a little bit of a snafu. It looks like maybe getting him checked in at the scorers table. They originally put the 195 finals match up on the track wrestling scoreboard.
Yeah, that's a bad feeling. You go to check in, and they're at the next weight class. And you say, gosh, did I sleep for
did I miss that?
I was out warming up in the hall. Did I miss my own match?
Downey ranked number 5 in Class 2A at 182.
And Downey wasted no time getting the first shot in, but Casey able to successfully counter him, sprawls back. They come back to their feet.
And we saw that last week with him, too, and he ended up losing to Colby Scott of Maple Valley Ensenada Charter Oak Ute in the finals. But Downey controlled that match throughout, and then Scott was just able to turn him and get the fall. But right now, Downey and Casey, no score, 35 seconds in. Both wrestlers sizing each other up, I would say. Now Casey working a wrist, trying to keep his wrist back from Downey.
Yeah, Downey likes to work a lot of drags, Russian tie-up, and there he changes levels and shoots. But again, Casey's a little longer, has a little more leverage.
I feel like Brendan Casey's been in the Atlantic Wrestling program for 19 years. 50 seconds left here in the first period. Still no score. I also feel like Downey has been more offensive so far in this match, but Casey's making it hard on him to get to what he wants to. Now they're in the center of the mat. 45 seconds left, or 40 seconds left here in the first period.
You watch how Downey is able to work his opponent's left side. Collar tie there, and he'll grab a wrist, and he'll shuck him by and create an angle, and that's his favorite way to shoot. Now he went the other way. I just said he liked to go to the left. He went back to the right. Casey was expecting it back to the left, and Downey in the scramble going to come out on top with the takedown. 10 seconds to go here, 2-0. Downey of Clarinda with the lead.
Casey did a good job of circling with him, but you can only do that for so long before Downey's going to find a way to get the 2, and he does. So we'll go to the second. Carson Downey of Clarinda leading Brendan Casey of Atlantic. Downey hoping to give his team a conference champion in their home gym. It's their only hope. Well, check that. They got Jackson Myers in the finals at 195. Casey in the down position to start the second. Downey working across the body. Early stages of the second period. Downey still trying to go cross body.
Yeah, he's got the left leg hooked in deep, picking up the far ankle.
Minute 30 left here in the second.
Casey having a hard time now. Downey picks up the near ankle and brings the hips of Casey down. Casey doing a good job resisting it, though. Now a power half on the far side by Downey, and he's going to crank on Casey's head a little bit. He's going to put some punishment on here if Casey doesn't go over. Casey does not go over. Good stout effort there.
Minute 5 left in the second. Casey got to his feet for a moment, but I think just having Downey on him the way he is, he couldn't do it for long. 55 seconds left in the second period. Downey's got him broken down flat. Casey trying to get back to his base.
And now Downey's going to work something a little different. He's got the leg out. He's got a chicken wing. Gives up the chicken wing, though. 35 seconds to go here. And it looks like Downey's going to go back to the cross body ride.
Down to 25 seconds left.
Casey trying to crowd him a little bit right now because he knows that Downey likes to work that power half from the other side, and there it is again.
He was loose on it, though. Casey gets out of it. Downey will counter the front headlock. 10 seconds left in the first period. Second period.
Yeah, this would be big if Casey could score a point here, if he could break free, and he does.
With 2 seconds to go, Brendan Casey gets the 1-point escape. And we'll go to the third, 2-1. Downey will be
He'll take the down position. Yeah.
To start the third.
Well, Downey tries that outside stand-up, and Casey puts the leg in. Downey's going to feel like he's getting shot with his own gun now. The crossbody right is in on him.
Minute 45 left in this match. Of course, Carson Downey's brother Cale was a conference champion. And now Casey cranking that arm at Downey.
Yeah, he's trying to work that crossbody ride.
Minute 25 left in this match.
Boy, he's got a tight chicken wing on the far side.
Too tight.
Yep, too tight.
That prompts potentially dangerous.
He had that ratcheted up like that was the load on the flatbed trailer headed for Arkansas.
That's probably what Downey is. I mean, I don't want to say he wanted that, but
wow.
Good situation for him. And now Casey is heavy up top early on in this sequence. 1:10 left in this match. Downey holding on to a 2-1 lead.
Well, Downey did a nice job getting up to his feet, but Casey was able to bring him back down, and Casey came down a little heavy high, and Downey now trying to work out of it, slowly, patiently trying to come around, pull that far leg in, work around, works above the knee.
He's got to get the head free, and he's in a great spot if he can.
Yep.
40 seconds left. He's torquing that ankle of Casey.
Casey's doing a nice job keeping his hips up as best he can. He's got the far half on. Downey's got to create some space here to get his head through, or that near arm. And right now, Casey's doing a good job controlling that.
20 seconds left. Casey, I think his plan now is I've got to get a tilt. But Downey pops the head free, gets the 2-point escape in the final seconds. And Casey will sit out. If I'm Downey, I might just cut him. Instead, he'll hold on and ride. Casey does get free at the horn. It's a 4-2 win for Carson Downey of Clarinda. The Cardinals have a conference champion at 182. We'll be back with the 195 final up next here on the KMA Extreme, KMAland.com.
Nordland Insurance Agency. Over 80 years of service to our area. Holly Stansberry and her husband Pete own Nordland Insurance Now, an independent agency representing several companies, and they offer a full line of insurance products, including home, auto, commercial, farm, crop, life, and health. Nordland Insurance Agency, serving Southwest Iowa and Northwest Missouri. Visit us online at nordlandinsurance.com or call us at 712-542-5175. Nordland Insurance Agency, Clarinda.
Welcome back to Clarinda on the KMA Extreme Online, KMAland.com. Championship match at 195 pounds. It is Zane Bendorf of Harlan taking on Jackson Myers of Clarinda. A lot to decipher here right now, Steve. We'll start with what we're seeing on the mat at the moment. This, I would say, is not the finals matchup we anticipate. Of course, Zane Bendorf ranked number 3 in Class 2A. CJ Carter of Glenwood also in this bracket, ranked number 4 in Class 2A. Those two have met 3 times this year, with Bendorf holding the 2-1 edge. Thought coming in maybe we'd see the rubber match per se, but Carter battling an illness, wrestled his first-round match. Then after that, just it didn't feel that he'd be able to give it a go here today. So he withdrew, and that put Jackson Myers into the finals. and Bendorf is out to an early 7-1 lead. And also, they honored it during the break, Steve, but Carson Downey moments ago for Clarinda picked up the win at 170, and it's another, or 182 rather, it's another milestone win for a Camayland Triangle wrestler. His 100th career win as Bendorf dumps Myers over.
Oh, and he's got him tight.
There's the fall. Time of 119, Zane Bendorf of Harlan is the champion over Jackson Myers.
Yeah, early in the season, Trevor, we thought we might see Downey, C.J. Carter, and Zane Bendorf all at 195. But at Christmas time, Downey went down to 182.
And I would say for him, I mean, that's probably the right call. I mean, he showed earlier this year, he beat Zane Bendorf. But, I mean, how many times do we see that throughout the years of, a really, really good wrestler that could be on the medal stand has to buy a ticket to watch a state wrestling tournament. And I think, props to Carson Downey and the Clarinda staff of knowing they could get down to 182 and feel good with where they're at. And we're on our way at 220 now. I'm very intrigued by this matchup.
Yeah, this is another one of those where, you're looking at a very young wrestler out here.
And a very seasoned wrestler.
220-pound freshman, Mason Kohler.
This, by the way, is Jackson Hildebrand of Denison Schleswig, ranked number 8 in Class 3A. He's a senior. He's going to play football and wrestle collegiately at Northwestern, taking on Mason Kohler, who's a freshman. He's ranked in Class 2A. Now, Kohler, of course, a freshman. We've seen him throughout the year. He's looked very impressive. Hildebrand, Shenandoah earlier snapped a 13-year conference champion drought. Hildebrand could do the same for Denison Schleswig. They've not had a conference champion since Jesse Proyle in 2010. They go out of bounds, no score, 59 seconds in.
Mason Kohler, though, he's an experienced freshman.
Yes.
Has done a lot of freestyle and junior wrestling, age group champion, national age group champion.
Down to our final couple matches. We got this one in the 285 final. Of course, consolation still rolling on at the moment. Hildebrand tried to shoot. And we're headed towards a throw. It's a battle of the hips. And Hildebrand wins the battle of the hips to give himself a 2-0 lead.
That's what I call a squat rack takedown there. When you've got the power in your legs that Hildebrand had and was able to drive explosively like that, that's usually a sign somebody's been working on the squat rack.
Of course, Hildebrand, I mentioned, he's going to play football as well for the defending NAIA national champion Northwestern. Played running back and linebacker for the Monarchs this year. He returned Kohler to the mat. Now he'll return him back to the mat.
Yeah, twice now he's picked up all 220 pounds, lifted him clear to the mat, and brought him back down under control. Going to work on top now, and that's how the first period's going to end. 2-0 Hildebrand of Denison with the lead, I should say. We're only one period in.
So we'll go to the second. Kohler tried to get free. It wasn't there for the moment.
Got his hips out momentarily on the sit out, but not able to finish it. Hildebrand right back over the top. Going to work trying to capture a wrist here on the far side. He's got the near wrist. Going to hammer that arm up now. Kohler's got to be careful here. Hildebrand trying to keep that arm trapped. Going to cross face the other side. And Kohler does get the arm free. Got to work back up to his base.
Minute 20 left here in the second. Meanwhile, we have consolations at 182 and 195 going on.
We had a warning there for stalling against Kohler in the down position. Now he tries to sit out, and he leaves an arm back. Hildebrand controls that, comes back around the hips. Trying for a tilt here. Kohler, though, back to his base.
50 seconds left here in the second period. Again, it's Jackson Hildebrand, Edison Schleswig, Mason Kohler of Glenwood. One more finals match coming up after this. Evan Sorensen of Atlantic just keeps on winning, and he will be in the finals here in just a little bit, taking on Max Chapman of Creston.
Kohler coming to his feet here, tripoding up. Hildebrand able to drive forward, drive him down. They're near the out of bounds. 15 seconds left to go here in the second period. Still just 2-0. Mason Kohler's been able to keep it close, but he needs to score.
Yeah.
I really feel like he needs to score at least one
10
in
seconds.
this final 11 seconds.
10 seconds left here in the second period. Kohler wanted to sit out. Hildebrand just dumps him over. And just hasn't got any near fall points yet. And he got Kohler maybe in the Adam's apple. You could tell as soon as Kohler got turned over, he had a look on his face like, this is not fun right now. And we'll go to the third. Hildebrand still leading this match 2-0.
Oh, and Hildebrand gets to his feet. Kohler sticks a leg in, trying to reach a cradle. I don't think that cradle's going to be there. Got the hands locked over the head. He's trying to, again, he's going to try for it. He knows he needs to turn him. Gets a little too high, and now Hildebrand has dumped Kohler. Kohler bails out and goes to his base, but gives up the reversal, and we're now 4-0. And you know, Trevor, I gotta feel a big part of it is just the physical maturity and strength. Yeah. You know, they're both, we'll say 220 pounds, but there's a difference between a 17, 18-year-old and a
I think
14, 15-year-old.
Kohler, this is a great match to learn from, right? I mean, as a freshman against a wrestler that I'm going to say it now, I think is going to medal in Des Moines in a couple weeks with Jackson Hildebrand, the way he's wrestling and the way he's wrestled all year. Like, this is a great match if you're Mason Kohler to try to break down, okay, what did I do well? What did I not do well? What do I need to defend? As right now, Hildebrand rides the hips. 50 seconds left here in the third period.
Boy, and Hildebrand always is digging for something, a wrist, an elbow to wing, a power half. Right now he's putting that power half on the other side.
35 seconds left here in the third. Hildebrand goes hard across the face. Down to 30 seconds left.
Yeah, I think when Hildebrand cross-faces you, you know you've been cross-faced. Your nose knows.
15 seconds left here in this match, and Jackson Hildebrand holding on in a pair of 13-year conference championship droughts come to a close. Hildebrand gives the Monarchs a state conference champion. That now means every school in the last 3 years in the Hawkeye 10 has had a conference champion, Steve.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing. Some of the teams at the top maybe are staying the same, but individual championships spread over a broader, we've seen tournaments where Creston or Atlantic Cam would come in and they'd have 5, 6, 7 champions.
Had a loaded team, I want to say, in 2018. I think back to, I don't remember the year off the top of my head, I had to look, but I know Lewis Central had a team that won nine titles.
Yep.
Kind of during the end of their run. So our finals match of the day, and we've got a throw at 285. Max Chapman of Creston's got Evan Sorensen on his back. Doesn't quite get the fall yet. And now we got a scramble in a big man match. How about that?
Yes,
Sorensen's
we
got
do.
Chapman on his back. If you watched Sorensen last week, that's not a surprise at all.
This This is typical Sorensen wrestling here.
Sorensen looking for the fall, and there it is. Evan Sorensen's run continues.
Can you believe that? And that's almost a replay of last week's John Harris match.
So the Atlantic heavyweight Evan Sorensen wins a scramble and pins Max Chapman of Creston for the conference title.
He just does them. He doesn't explain it.
Hey, he's winning. He doesn't have to explain it. So that actually concludes the finals action here today. I love when the finals get done before the consolations. And Steve, as we look back, the team scores, I don't think anything's going to change. Creston, another big day for the Panthers, and they're on their way to another conference title.
243 points right now for Creston, as we've got 2 matches yet, I think, to come up. 2 matches, period.
So
they're underway right now. This is about as well as you can make it come out. Creston with 243, Atlantic with 220, Glenwood 166.
Yeah, 166 for Glenwood, Kemper 4th, Lewis Central 5th, Harlan, Clarinda, Shenandoah, Denison, Schleswig, Red Oak, St. Albert complete the field. We will not have any in terms of tournament coverage next week because I'll be in Coralville at the state dual tournament. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, we'll be back at it with districts in a couple of weeks. Couple different places. We'll have coverage from Glenwood and coverage from Riverside in a couple weeks there. Of course, regional dual action on Tuesday night. Steve and Nick are headed to Logan for 1A action. I'll be in Creston for the 2A action. Full rundown from tonight's action, or today's action, the Hawkeye 10 Conference Tournament, will be available online later on at KMAland.com. You've been watching high school wrestling on the KMA video stream. Thank you for doing that. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. For Hall of Fame coach Steve Byer, I'm Trevor Mader with KMA Sports.
That was fun.